Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the CADDY MAXI van conversion. In the last episode we completed the vapour barrier and we also insulated the van so that it was ready for the next stage. Even my baby gave me a thumbs up when I went to see her last. So here we go, on to part 3. Getting prepared for the glue, the spray glue canisters. So just covering up my nice tinted windows with a bit of newspaper so that when I spray my glue onto here I don't get any on the actual glass on the inside. Just don't want to damage it. I think, to be honest, it's like a tinted window vinyl that they put up there, so any of those glue sort of alcohol residues and stuff might end up damaging that, and I don't want to obviously see anything when you look from the outside. So just covering up these panels with some newspaper so that when I do the carpet lining it is all good to go. I've also covered up the door areas with a bit more vapour shield, so that is encasing the insulation in there. And I've left these little tiny holes here so that when I reattach my door panel that's going to be carpeted, it's nice and easy. I think, to be honest, I'm actually going to have to do that on this section here because there's an access panel underneath each side, and yeah, if anything was to happen with the two sliding doors or any sort of lights, I think there's a bit of a loom in there for something, maybe central locking or something. I want to be able to get into that without having to take all this off. So I was thinking about just cutting out some small tiny V-notches where these size holes are on the inside of there, and then being able to put my ply on, have a hole cut in the ply, and then put my board that again is carpeted over the front of that, just so that if anything was to happen I don't have to remove the whole of the ply. I then don't have to remove the whole of this. Worst case scenario, if I have to cut out a flap to be able to get in there, that's fine, and then I can just tape it back up each time just to continue with that nice vapour shield. But I think that's what I'm going to have to do with the sides of the van, and the doors as well, obviously the door sections, because they're all going to have ply panels on there, but then on top of the ply panel there's going to be the access panel. So yeah, just trying to think a bit ahead. If anything was to happen with any of the doors or any of the mechanisms, I've still got access to them if I need to get in there without having to ruin or rip out all of this stuff and have to redo it again. So that's the thought process. But yeah, getting ready for the carpet. Carpet is here. I went for the anthracite colour. I think it's going to look really nice inside the van. I just thought as well, being slightly darker, it's going to hide a bit of a multitude of sins, really, if anything was to happen. A little bit easier, a little bit better. And there's all the spray glue that you have to use. So when I bought this, I bought 10 metres by 2 metres, and that came with one can of glue per every 1 by 2 metre. So yeah, quite a lot of glue. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I don't know if I'm going to use all of that, but we shall see. See, other than that, it's ready for the carpet. It's just a case now of me having the right amount of time, light and weather to be able to get out here and do it. So yeah, get in there. So when I got the van, I actually had one of the sliding doors which wasn't working, and I've managed to fix it, but in order to fix it I had to take off the original ply that was on the van. So in doing that, because the door was shut, I couldn't get a screwdriver or an angled drill in there to be able to remove one piece of this ply. So what I had to do was had to break it off. So when I broke it off, I knew that I'd have to buy some more ply and replace it. So what I've done is I had one good side, and now I've used that, because it's exactly the same template for the other side, to mark out a new sheet of ply. So what I'm doing here is just putting the cover that goes over the front of the door over the top, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly when the board is carpeted, I'm just trying to figure out exactly how big the hole needs to be to make sure that the cover covers the hole. So here we go, got to work on the jigsaw, just using a couple of clamps to clamp the ply down onto a little bench that I've got, and that just gave it a bit more sort of rigidity when I was cutting it, to be honest. Time to make the first cut on the carpet. So here we go. Let's make this first vertical cut. So I was quite nervous, if I'm being completely honest, when I started to cut the carpet, only because I really didn't have to want to order anymore. So I was double, triple, quadruple checking my measurements before I finally did make that cut. The actual process of cutting and then gluing the carpet to the ply panels was actually really easy by the time you had your template done, so that was nice. The first piece that I've carpeted is one of the door panels, and I have to say I love the colour and I think it looks pretty good, so I'm really happy with that. It's not easy, but I tell you what, it's looking so much better than that ply. So yeah, 1,000,000% better than what it was before, just boring old ply. Now it looks absolutely awesome. So I've got one more of them to do, and then a couple of the infill panels, and yeah, there we have it. 2 completed carpeted door sections. I am over the moon to get that started. It's taken quite a long time to get to this stage, but I'm really happy with where I'm at the moment with this. I've done 2 doors. I've got the infill panels to do, and then I can get them back in the van completed. So yeah, really good to get to this stage, and it's not an easy job, I should tell you. I've spent the last couple of hours just getting these done. So yeah, but it's going to make all the difference when it goes in the van. So after getting both of those panels done, I was really eager to get them into the van and to see exactly what it looked like once it was in there. So it was a bit tricky doing it by myself, but managed to get in a couple of screws at the top which held it in, and then you could just put the last few into the sides so that it was in place, ready to go. Marking out all of the panels, the infill panels on the carpet. So now I can cut it, stick it, glue it, stretch it, and then fit it. So I'd done the small infill sections, or the covers that go over the holes that I created, and it was now time to start measuring off sections for the rear doors. Here I am with a bit of ply underneath the carpet and also a long length, which is actually going to be part of the floor, to use as a guide to actually cut the carpet once I've got it at the right measurement. Both infill panels are done. Just got to mark the holes, plug them back on. After all of those smaller sections had been done, I then got to work doing the main sections that are going to go over the top of the wheel arches and line the biggest parts of the van. Initially, at the beginning of the video, I said I was going to cut out holes in these pieces to allow access panels. After a lot of consideration, I decided not to do that because I wanted a nice complete line of carpet. So yeah, I didn't cut them in the end. So that's both side panels carpet lined. I did decide not to cut out the sort of access hatch in the end. I just thought, you know what, it's just going to be so much easier to just unscrew the screws that are going to attach it at the top and the sides. So that's what I've done. I think it's going to be a lot easier. I've only now got left to do a bit of state of that in there. I've got this door to do. I've done this door panel. This door's done. The other inside doors are done, but I do need to get a couple of slightly longer pegs. So where the doors, the insert panels fit over the top of the hull, I need to get some slightly longer pegs that will then hold it on, because the ones that I've now got, the standard ones, they're not long enough to go through one piece of ply and carpet and then another piece of ply and carpet and then into the holes that are already pre-existing from the door. So yeah, other than that, I've got them on order. So yeah, when they turn up, I should be able to put those panels on. Now I've got to work on these little top sections. So I just have to put a runner carpet along there and just down that side. So you don't see the silver, same on the other side. And again, just a little bit across the top so that again you don't see the silver. So that is the last bit. Oh, obviously, and the back as well. So so yeah, there we go. So after I'd then done all of those carpet lined sections and everything else, it was time to do the wheel arches. I'd heard mixed reviews about how difficult this was, and it was difficult, but in the end it came out really nicely. Moving on, I wanted to do the back section of the van in a whole complete piece of carpet, so you didn't see any joins at the top or the sides or anything like that. So I did have to use quite a lot of the carpet there, but the big bit that I cut out from the middle, I then was able to reuse on the other side, on the other wheel arch. So luckily there wasn't too much wastage, and I still got that finish that I wanted at the back of the van. Finally, after what seemed like a very long time and a very long journey getting to this stage, I was able to reattach the carpeted ply line panels back into the side of the van. As soon as I put these in, the van immediately started to take shape in a different way that I hadn't seen it before. So really, really happy with how it looks. I've still got a couple of screws to put in at the bottom and the sides just to pin it back that little bit further, but it was all I had at the time, so I just got it in. So here we go. The final part of the ply is in, everything is screwed down, and the carpet is finally completed on the van, all bar that last door. So that's the end of that. One big job ticked off the list. Now it's time for the floor in the next video. Well, thanks for checking out part 3 of the CADDY camper, MAXI camper, mini micro MAXI camper build. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you hopefully see you in part 4. Floors next, along with a roof and some lights. So let's see how we go with that. Cheers.